Johan, what do you think are the three biggest problems facing the food system today?
To single out three, I think what really is a concern is that today, prematurely shortening the lives of something like 10 to 11 million people per year, which is at a scale and pace which is equivalent to the loss of lives that we experienced with the pandemic. So we're talking of a massive social injustice and impact on humans, and that this is linked to the fact that we have 1 billion people malnourished, 3 billion people facing levels of undernourishment. That is one major challenge. We're simply not delivering on the right of food for all. The second is that food is the single largest cause for transgressing planetary boundaries. So we're not only threatening people's health, but also planetary health. And that is a huge concern, because we today know that if we don't get the food system back into a safe operating space on planetary boundaries, we will fail even on the climate Paris Agreement. And the third one, which is kind of an emerging threat, is that we're seeing more and more evidence that food insecurity causes social instabilities, which pushes vulnerable communities into displacement, migration, that we even see indications of connections or as a threat amplifier between food insecurity and conflict. And of course that means that food is a security, is a pathway to peace. And we're seeing that we're undermining that stability. So the food system is really fundamental, both on health, sustainability, and security. But what are your thoughts?
I completely agree with you. I think you've highlighted three critical challenges. I think what really worries me, particularly on the first one, is that after decades of progress on eradicating hunger, we're stalled and even going backwards again. I think the same applies to the environmental issues and climate boundaries. And then I guess thirdly for me, it would be how unequally these effects fall around the world. And so I think that difference between those who are doing well, who are eating healthy, and those who are unable to, just seems to be growing, I think. And that inequality is a real challenge, I think, to overcome those three challenges that you raised.